Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today we're going to talk about Paradice X issue 0. It's the setup to this 12 issue run. This story is the final story to a fantastic trilogy. First you had Earth X, then Universe X, and now Paradice X. This particular issue really just focuses on where each of our characters are at the beginning of the story. In the Universe X story arc, Captain Marvel kills Death and actually creates heaven using all the classic MacGuffins from the Marvel Universe. He pulls all our heroes that were in this type of hell, locked in eternal combat, into heaven itself. Also, villains are welcomed in. We sort of have this weird situation where we have the normal afterlife where people live in the type of purgatory, where they sort of live the same day over and over again. They don't accept that they're dead in the first place. And what happens is, with some people, they sort of realize the situation, they accept it, and then they're allowed to enter heaven. To help Captain Marvel with this endeavor, he has 6 angels who are Captain America, Tony Stark, Victor Von Doom, Black Bolt, Jean Grey, and Hank Pym. And I do have to say that the design that Alex Ross gives all these angels look freaking awesome, but Captain America is the coolest one. So the story actually starts off with Captain America. He goes down to the normal realm of the dead almost every day. He goes and visits his parents. Obviously, he doesn't tell them who he is, but he does feel this nostalgia. He does want to help them, but he sort of can't tell them. At the beginning of the story, we do have a brief summary of the whole journey that Captain America and Captain Marvel went on, going and searching for all the MacGuffins of the Marvel Universe, which basically, with their combined powers, they were able to create heaven with them. And the really interesting thing is, to be able to enter the Paradise itself, you do have to eat a piece of the Cosmic Cube. I do have to say that there's a lot of religious iconography in this story. Like, we have Matt Murdock with a tray of pieces of Cosmic Cube, and he's going around like it's the communion. This might rub some people in the wrong way. At least for me, it works for this story. It doesn't bother me. We get a pretty interesting dialogue between Captain America and Captain Marvel about the nature of the Paradise itself. And we get this one question where Cap actually asks, where the hell is Paradise in the first place? And Captain Marvel totally omits in this conversation that Paradise is actually in the negative zone and it's destroying it. So we have Annihilus and Blastar's forces ready to go to war against Paradise. Then we cut to X-51, who I mentioned in a previous video on Paradice X, has created his own team of exiles. They were called the Heralds, and they were jumping across the multiverse trying to let other Earths from other realities know about the situation of the celestial embryo within each one of their planets. Basically, if they don't stop that embryo from hatching, it's the end of the world. This was the main story to the Earth X arc that led Galactus, who at that moment was actually Franklin Richards, go to war against the Celestials to save Earth. So now on Earth, we have a really big problem. Since Death has died, no one can die. So we have hundreds upon hundreds of people agonizing, dealing with serious injuries, and they just can't go into the afterlife. What makes things worse, we have Mephisto running across the world, hurting and injuring as many people as possible to exacerbate this whole situation. Then we have Sunfire, who is the leader of Zen, and they're like the protectors of the Orient. Then we cut to Captain Britain, who's still mourning the death of Excalibur, and especially his wife was on the team. They were all killed by the Grey Gargoyle. But now he has a royal wedding. He has to get married to Medusa. So in the Earth X universe, everyone was exposed to the Terrigen Mist, so everyone has powers. So now everyone seems to be subjects to the royal crown of the Inhumans, so this wedding is just going to consolidate that whole situation. There's a really fantastic subplot that carries over from Universe X where Belasco discovers that he's Nightcrawler. And now we have him trying to make contact with the X-Men again and reestablish his friendships. Then we have the story arc that also carried over where we have Loki, who discovered that the Asgardians are not really gods. They were like amorphous ethereal aliens who were discovered by Odin, and he molded them into being these deities of Norse mythology. And that Odin has been carrying this lie all this time. So now Loki was able to convince Thor, and they're both going around all of Asgard trying to convince all the rest of the Asgardians of this whole situation. And the issue sort of closes off with the arrival of the original Guardians of the Galaxy. They really want to understand what the hell happened to this timeline. So I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. Bye.